to an installment of Budget Gaming with Prankster. Today we're going to take a look at the World of Tanks from the Belarusian developer Wargaming.net. This is a freemium game where you fight other players with historic tanks and artillery from the 1930s to the 1950s. There are around 140 or so of these tanks in the game of now. You know, different bonuses and drawbacks. It's like the lighter tanks have mobility, and the heavier tanks can take a pounding better. Now, there are 4 nations to choose from right now, respectively Germany, the Soviet Union, France, and the US, and apparently Britain and Japan is confirmed to be released later down the road. Now, let's take a look at the combat with the Tier 2 artillery tank Bison from Germany, the Waffen-SS or whatever. Now, when you play the artillery, you see the top-side down view we have here, as opposed to a more normal first-person view where you're rolling around in a normal tank. And playing the artillery, you have to rely on your teammates to spot the enemy first. Although you can guess their position based on trees and fences being knocked down, etc., it's easier having buddies out in the field. Now, reloading this beast takes ages, so make sure your shots count. And I guess if you could compare it to playing the sniper, as you do in other FPSs, it's kind of cool to bombard some guy in a tank who thinks he's behind cover.
He's gone. Find another target. Enemy armor is destroyed.
Now, it's always smart to relocate when playing the artillery. You're fragile and you can't really take a pounding, and in close combat you're practically useless unless you get a lucky shot. Now, let's take another look at a random combat, this time with a light tank, again from Germany. I kind of like their tech tree, so I'm trying to focus on their tanks primarily. Despite how illogical it might seem, you're not pitted against tanks of other factions, as allies would be horribly overrepresented, I'm guessing. The matchmaking just selects 15 different tanks and roughly the same tier as each other, meaning you won't run into a Tiger tank while you're playing a starter one. So I guess that's okay. I also haven't run into any really bad balanced games so far, just incompetent players, but I'm sure they exist. Now, as far as graphics go, it's an okay game. I mean, it's not cutting edge, and the game is almost a year old by now, so don't expect your mind to be blown away. The scenery can look a little stiff sometimes, and besides small walls, trees, and fence posts, you can't run through anything, say like a house, which was a little disappointing. drawbacks with the game is if you're killed off quickly, the duration is roughly around 15 minutes, meaning if you die within the first couple of minutes, you have to sit and wait in what may seem like a small eternity watching the screen until your buddies either capture the enemy's base or gets eliminated. And there's no respawn timer, so taking your time and hiding in the bush waiting to surprise someone can really be the difference between winning and losing. And at the end here, we see the combat results screen, and for every game you get some cash and experience, as well as seeing your personal achievements on who you wounded, etc. Back at the garage, our tank is totaled, and we have to spend some of that cash we just earned to repair the tank and restock some of the shells we used, but we still managed to come ahead with a nice little profit. Only the tier 2 tanks and above have this mechanism, but running around in the first started tanks gets boring real fast. Now, for each tank you also have a crew, which increase their skills the more you fight with them. You can choose to pay money for in-game currency and purchase a crew with a higher XP rate, meaning leveling up goes way faster than the free ones, but hey. You also get research points from every game you do with a specific tank, which you can use to upgrade the various parts of the tank. Each faction has their own tech tree, and every tank has its own sub-tree. So, before you start rolling around, you might want to take a look at their tech tree and see if there's anything you like, as the starter tanks are really not that different. Now, since of course it's a freemium game, you can spend real money for in-game bonuses otherwise or not available to you, be it repair kits or other nice stuff to use on the battlefield, as well as a more experienced crew and permanent decals for your tanks, be it in terms of you can enjoy the game without spending any money. Yes, you can, absolutely. Should you play the game? Well, if you like World War II tanks, then a definite yes. Since the combat is not generally very fast-paced, you can spend a little time plotting our strategies, and tactics are crucial in this game, so it's not as adrenaline rushing as, let's say, a normal FPS would be. If you don't like simulators, FPSs, or World War II, my advice would be to steer clear of it. Get it? Because it's a tank. Steer clear. Oh, wow. Anyway, I hope you like this short installment, and stay tuned for another one of Budget Gaming here with me, Prankster. So until then, people of the internet, stay awesome and stay fantastic.